So what it takes to rejuvenate your garden. As I said before, strong stomach, patience, because once you do this, you can't undo it. Once you cut the plants back, you're going to have to either pull them out or wait for them to grow back out. So it does help to have a strong stomach. What's in your garden? This is what you need to know before you start rejuvenating, that intelligent person's method, because don't try to rejuvenate plants that aren't good candidates for rejuvenation. You need to go out and identify what's in your yard so you can determine whether you have good candidates. And this is a great time of year to do it. What a great day today is. Too bad you guys are inside. I'm sure we'll have another good day soon. Bear in mind that our landscapes change over time. So we have this beautiful sunny lawn, and we plant our beautiful tree, then our beautiful tree grows up, and now we have a shady lawn, and we don't grow grass anymore. So you have to consider that maybe instead of buying grass seed that says it grows in the shade and dies every year, it's time to put in shade-loving plants. But the other opposite result can happen. We can end up with a situation where we have a shady garden and we have to cut a tree down, and suddenly we have a sunny garden. And so we might have to change the type of plants we have. And, just trying to say, I'm going to keep these hostas going in the full sun might not be the best way to spend your days gardening. Remember, a good lawn requires 4 to 6 hours of full sun, and that's at the minimum. Anything below that, you're not going to have good results. And there is no magic grass seed. The stuff that says guaranteed to grow in the shade is not magic grass seed. It says guaranteed to grow in the shade. It doesn't say guaranteed to survive in the shade. Okay? It will be dead by around the 4th of July or shortly thereafter. Okay? There is no magic shade seed in our area. Okay? It just doesn't happen. If your lawn continually looks good in May and June and looks bad in July, August, it's probably too much shade. It's time to change what you're doing. So what's worth saving when it comes to plants? I think most plants are worth saving. Now, there could be some non-native invasives that you don't like, and you've been reading all the literature and you said it's time to get rid of it. You might have a plant that's just diseased continually, has a lot of insect problems, and you're always spraying it, and that could be a good plant to get rid of. But most plants, I think, have a consideration that they're pretty decent plants, and maybe they've gotten out of control and they need to be rejuvenated. So go out, consider. I think most plants deserve a second chance. So perennials. Perennials are the thing that I think get a lot of people in trouble, because everyone says, I don't want to plant annuals. I want to plant perennials because then I don't have to worry about planting every year. I'll just put in the perennials and I'll have a great garden for the rest of my life. Yeah, you guys are laughing. You already know. It ain't so. They really need to be divided every 2 to 3 years. I mean, depending on how your garden is growing, when you plant in your perennials, about 2 to 3 years, they're going to start crowding each other out, and they're going to need to be rejuvenated. That is, thinned, separated, and replanted. If you do that, you're going to have a really nice garden all the time. If you wait 10 years, it's going to be a major disaster. Now, you can probably restart, but it's not going to look as good. It's going to take it another couple years. It's easy to divide most perennials. If they have little bulblets like this Acorus, you can get it dug up nicely with a sharp spade, or if you have really good soil, you can use a spading fork. Get it up, get that plant, and then chop it into little pieces. How hard is that? You can give them away to your friends and neighbors, have plant sales, spread them all around your yard. Irises. Irises are, especially the German bearded, they end up getting in trouble because of an insect, a borer that bores its way through the leaf and down into the rhizome, and it just destroys older rhizomes. And so people say, what's wrong? My irises used to be so nice, and now I only get 1 or 2 flowers. They really need to be rejuvenated by digging those rhizomes up at the end of the summer, cut the plants back, get yourself the nice, white, healthy rhizomes. Get rid of those older, bigger, mushy ones. Leave yourself a little stem, and then get them replanted and lightly mulched. Okay? And you want to really do that end of the summer, early fall. I would not recommend doing it now. It might be very difficult. The ground is quite frozen, and I think if you were to do that now, you'd have Well, you won't get any flowers. Okay, so if you're willing to sacrifice that, yes, I think you could when you wait until the ground warms up a little bit. I think you can do that, but you're going to sacrifice your flowers. I think it's best to wait until the end of the summer when it comes to iris. Lots of questions. Yeah, I mean, if you have double blooming or multiple blooming plant, I mean, that could even be a daylily. Some of them have multiple bloom daylilies. At some point, you need to divide them and make a little bit of a sacrifice. If you do it early enough, you might still be able to get a second bloom, but realize that you might be sacrificing a season of bloom for many more seasons of better bloom, right? So when you rejuvenate. Well, should you move the plants to a different area? Perhaps. I mean, certainly if you have iris and they get full sun and they're doing great, and then all of a sudden you get a shade tree and they're being shaded, then yeah, it might be time to dig them up and move them. But if you're saying move them because, for instance, some plants, we recommend that you rotate the plants in your garden so that you don't get a disease. The iris borer fly around. They'll find them where you put them. So moving them isn't gonna help you there. Yeah. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, you're not doing this every year. You're not doing this every year, okay? You need to give the plant a chance to recover, but you can really cut those stems down and you can cut those rhizomes down. You just want to make sure you've got some nice, healthy root growth and it's a nice, white, firm rhizome. Lifting plants. This actually shows a canna, but any of these plants, if you've got nice garden soil, you can lift these giant chunks up. You can find all these extra bulbs, tubers, rhizomes, whatever kind of plant it is, and get them separated out, and you're going to end up with a better result every few years than if you never do this. You'll end up with a lot more foliage and less flowers if you don't do this every few years with perennials. So remember, perennials are not carefree, okay? They are wonderful plants, but they require this care. And if you do this on a regular basis, every 2, 3, 4 years, depending on the plant, you're going to end up with a beautiful garden most of the time. Peonies. Peonies are a plant that people are afraid of. They're tough, really tough, hardy. You don't want to move them often, but they are a plant that lives for a long time, oftentimes over 100 years. And so they are a plant that ends up in a sunny spot when they were planted, in 1859, but, that giant tree grew up and now they're in the shade and they just don't get the blooms that they used to. In the fall, you can dig them up and you can replant them, okay? And they benefit dramatically from that. Again, I don't recommend just digging these guys up willy-nilly. You need to take it seriously, but when you do it, they will benefit if you move them to a sunnier spot. And again, you can get them all the way down to just a little rhizome. Just remember that when you do that, they have what's called an eye or a bud, and it usually is red, sticking up a little bit, and you want to make sure that's above ground. Don't bury the whole thing underground, under 2 or 3 inches of soil or mulch, because your peony will grow, but it won't flower. And that goes true also when you buy them. If you buy them at the store and they come in a pot or whatever, don't bury them deeply. Make sure that the crown of that plant is up, because that eye needs light to flower. It'll grow like crazy, and people over mulch these all the time. Don't put the mulch through the center of the plant. Just put it around the plant. Ornamental grasses. These guys, especially miscanthus, I mean, some of these varieties just are huge and aggressive. They're beautiful, but they get big and they need to be thinned out. A lot of times if you don't, after 3 or 4 or 5 years, the centers will die out. And so you sort of have a ring of a plant. And you're much better off dividing them in about 3 years or so. So you cut them all the way down. You want to do this in the spring. Do not try to do perennial ornamental grasses in the fall. They will not overwinter well. Do that this time of year. The ground's not frozen. Just remember that a miscanthus plant of this size is going to be one tough rascal, okay? You're not just going to pull that apart like that acorus plant. You may need an axe, okay, or a chainsaw that you don't care about running in the dirt. Wear gloves and long sleeves. These things are vicious. They will just cut you up. I mean, they're just mean. But if you divide them up, you can get a lot of different plants out of them, and you can share the misery with your friends and neighbors. If you keep your perennial garden thinned, cut back every few years, you can maintain it looking like this all the time instead of only some of the time. It's just about doing that exercise.